One of my children was very ill as a very small baby, and she wasn't getting better. And I came to homeopathy. She was given some little white pills, and within 2 weeks I had a bouncing, healthy baby. At the same time, my mother was dying of cancer. It was too late to do anything for her, even if anybody had agreed to it. But she was not very well treated by the medical profession, and I had begun to wonder, my thought was that there must be a better way of doing this. So those were the two reasons. As I then took the children and all of us to homeopathy, I just became more and more interested in it. And then heard of Thomas More and went to his classes for the last 2 years of his life, where I said nothing because he was terrifying. He was an inspiring but terrifying man. And then after he died, 2 of his pupils, Martin Miles and Robert Davison, set up the first College of Homeopathy. And because I'd been learning it piecemeal because of babies and it was not and everything, I knew I needed some proper structured teaching, which is what I got there, actually. A very good grounding in the basics of homeopathy. I practice in Bath, and I use mostly the sensation. I mean, I always take a sensation case, but I use other methods as well. I always use the repertory. I can't work without the repertory. And other knowledge one gleans from different people, from friends, from colleagues, from students, all come into the mix to help you find whatever remedy you need for the patient. Now I teach mostly only in Britain, but I have taught around the world over the years. It's just always exciting because there is always something different. You can never learn it all. There are always things to learn. There's always surprises. And it's just that feeling of excitement that doing homeopathy gives. And at the same time as it being very satisfying for oneself and giving one that sort of joie de vivre, you know that it's a useful thing to be doing and that you're helping people. And it's a great feeling. Now I've been in Bath for 30 years. I see young people whom I treated as tiny children with ear infections and chests and coughs bring their children back to me, and I think, gosh, that's another generation of children being brought up with homeopathy, and that is really satisfying. That's one of my favourite parts of my practice now, are these young people bringing back their children, because they remember, even if when they were teenagers they wouldn't come and see me because, you know, what's going on, it's that kind of thing, but they do remember that as children their ear infections got better, and they want that for their children. So that's something that's really important to me. Well, teaching is fun. I like interaction with the students, actually. And, you know, they question you what you do, and they again make you think things differently because you teach what you know and what you think you know. And somebody will ask you a question, and sometimes they'll ask a question and you think, well, actually, I hadn't thought of that. I don't know. So you learn again from actually teaching the students. And it's just a good interaction. These are people who are coming up. These are the homeopaths of the future, and again you feel you're giving something to homeopathy, not just now but for the future, so it can continue to grow and develop. I love teaching at the School of Homeopathy because it's a good body of people generally, and the course is never totally static. It's ideas are listened to, suggestions are listened to, things are improved, and I can see in the time that we've been in Stroud that things are moving in the right direction in terms of giving the students, equipping them with the tools of basic homeopathy that they need in the 4 years that they study here. And then they can go on to do all sorts of complicated things and all the other things that are coming into homeopathy all the time, and should do, and I hope they always will. But they should have the basic tools of homeopathy which have endured the test of time and which they must have in order to become homeopaths. And that basic grounding is there. I like doing the clinics more than any teaching I do anywhere. and it's partly because it's so honest. You know, you're not saying anything to the students about what you do. They see what you do. They see you fail, they see how difficult it is. Seeing patients, they'll see how one struggles, how the patients are not always, sometimes they don't turn up. All the things that happen in day-to-day practice, which you don't see when you bring your video cases. And they see the realities of it, and it feels like it's a really, really useful thing for the students to do. And because I have the students for 2 years, they come in the 3rd year, and I'm doing the clinic long enough now to know that by the time they get into the 4th year, their confidence has increased enormously, and they become almost like colleagues. You know, I'll say to them, what are we going to do now? As if I'm with some colleagues, because their ideas are worth listening to, because they have really got it, having done the clinics for a year. So it's a very good relationship with the students, actually. You feel like it's a two-way street.